I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unmask? Unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving With Hailey. I'm your host, John Morrison. Joining me, as always, is our amazing co-host, Megan Mitchell. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It was, we had a great weekend. We're going to break that down in our Pets Pro Painting opening segment here in just a couple seconds. It was great. We had Meet the Drivers Night. Let's just, I don't know. I need to figure out how to reopen the show now that we have a sponsor for the opening segment. So we're going to dive right into our Pets Pro Painting opening segment. Like I said, last night we had Meet the Drivers Night at Flamborough Speedway. On tap was the Soma Mods, Pure Stocks, Mini Stocks, Ontario Pro Challenge, and the Pro Late Models. It was a fantastic night. Mother Nature could not keep us away. This was Megan's first Meet the Drivers Night since being a competitor. Let's dive right into that. Megan, how was it?
It was really good. I was worried because of the way the weather was really iffy. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people. But there was quite a few people out there. And it was exciting. Like, it's a really good event. I had a lot of people thank us, as in like the drivers in the track, for doing this. And I mean, everyone loves it. So it was really good. I had so much fun.
It is definitely one of the premier events that happen at Flamborough Speedway each year, because it does give a chance, because a lot of the times fans are not able to get over to the pit side because of timing. By the time sometimes the races get done, it's like 10:30. And if you got a little one who's really tired, you don't really want to go over to the pit side and walk around. That is one of the ways to really get the kids in the sport. But another alternative, of course, is Meet the Drivers Night, where they bring the cars right on the front stretch. They open up the gate, let the fans rush the racetrack, and they get a chance to not only walk on the surface, but they get to go meet and talk to their favorite drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's awesome. Like, that was one of my favorite my favorite events as a kid. And even now as a driver, like, it's one of my favorites. And I'm so glad Flamborough's doing it twice this year.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was supposed to be scheduled for the second one. But unfortunately, I have to skip that now. I didn't realize certain things in my weekend planning, and I have to move that one. So we're not going to have a Meet the Drivers Night grid walkthrough again. But if you guys want to go, oh, maybe that's what it is. Ooh, sorry, I just got some breaking news, and I think I understand what's going on at Flamborough now. Because I got really confused. Anyways, back scroll moment. Anyways, what was I saying again?
About the second Meet the.
So yeah, since I can't make the second one, we do have now posted on our YouTube page. We have I attacked again Flamborough Speedway's Meet the Drivers Night, and I walked throughout with my, Jacqueline likes to call it a stupid headband GoPro. I call it ingenuity. The way I look at it is I can still use both my hands. I no longer get tired and have to switch. And you guys can actually see me physically walk throughout the grid and talk to the drivers. And like I said, it's still one of the coolest things I get to do because I get to go up and talk to you racers.
Yeah.
And I know some of y'all don't like to talk to me, and I know y'all don't. But guess what? You guys talk to me still.
Yep.
Especially the one over here. Uh, I love you, Megan, but it's always funny if I don't tell you if the
Yeah.
camera's not rolling.
I do better that way.
You do,
I have
except
to
for the when
pretend it. What's
you had to
that?
pretend. You had to pretend that it wasn't on.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't look at it.
You know what? Last night we were with Tenley Pepin and the Ontario Pro Challenge as we recorded a brand new episode of A Day at the Races presented by JTM Racing. We had an absolute blast recording it. I'm still trying to get back to my groove from like 2-3 years ago with the CVMs, where I did a lot more talking and really breaking down what I saw throughout the race before we got back and talked to the driver themselves. So this weekend you'll see a lot. I'm going to Sauble this weekend. I'm so excited about that. As you guys, anyone who saw on Sunday, I had already posted about getting the van prepared. We're not leaving till Friday. Like we're leaving Friday after work, heading up. We're gonna stay at Sauble Falls 10 Trailer Park. But you guys are gonna see. I think the goal is we're actually gonna record kind of 2 vlogs throughout the weekend. So
Nice.
we'll see how that goes. We're gonna do kind of as Jacqueline called the Jomo on vacation. So, but because we're going to the races, we're going to incorporate that into the race day vlog as well. But we may set up I may have 2 separate videos for that weekend. One personal and one professional. So there may be, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, it was A Day of the Races. Our vlog series is so much fun to do. You know, Megan, I wish you'd be able to have like a weekend off to come join us to record one of these, because getting a chance to just sit there, film, like it's weird. Like not only do we sit there and film, we actually offer sorry guys, we offer essentially race day PR. Like we're not just there filming with the drivers, we're actually there covering their races, doing quick photos and putting them up on social media, letting people kind of giving them a race day rundown of what's going on with their driver.
Yeah.
And it gives a whole new opportunity and perspective for teams and drivers to really get out there, because you're seeing what they're doing in the pits. And you know, like unfortunately last night Tenley with 2 laps to go, she did take the white flag if I remember correctly. She lost. She was just about to get lapped by Tim, and I saw her pull over, and I was like, "What the hell happened? Like, why? Like, she's pulling over way too early. Like, it's not right. Like, what is wrong with this?" I'm like, turns out she broke her rear gear. So, like, me being the guy in the pits, just staring like, and I don't know what's going on because I don't have any audio with her.
Yeah.
I sat there and go like, "What? What are you doing?" Like, I'm like, "You're gonna let this car pass you?" Like, it's. And I found out that it was a rear gear issue. I'm like, oh, I sound like an idiot. But then again, when don't I? That's the other question.
Oh my God.
What? Come on, you know it's true.
Well, we all have moments.
I'm a bit of an a-hole. I love, and one thing I'm loving is I love seeing the feedback I'm getting from some people who have seen the video of the grid walk. Because Cam K just messaged me. He goes, "I love the grid walk. Need you to do that everywhere." I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Cool. He says OSS guys are at Sauble on Saturday. Sorry, Cam, I'm not there on Saturday. I'm only going Sunday. No, it's like it's still one of the coolest events. I'm gonna showcase because I have these right in front of me. First of all, Graphic Design Studio does a killer job with designing hero cards. Here is Tenley's. It is absolutely amazing. Then we got the owner and head designer of Graphic Design Studio. We got Rachel Mitchell. She does a hell of a job. Like, I love it. And of course, one of our biggest supporters, John Carley from Georgetown Printing. I can't say enough about the guy. He is an absolute blast to work with. He was the president of the CVMs when I started doing social media with them. Um, you know, it I love John a lot because he does so much for me to help. Like he helped me with designing some of our hero cards as well because I'm I'm not a professional. I've never went to school, but Canva has been my best friend in
Yeah.
setting up some of these. And the fact that some people have actually expressed of wanting to use me as well, uh, is kind of cool.
Mhm.
So, but anyways, we're going back through this again. We got Megan Mitchell with her 97. Again, the one thing I love is I never, because of how drone media is,
Yeah.
I don't ask to be a part of anything on things like such as this. But and I'm sure neither does the guy who's next to me as well. Um, but you got Lift the Visor as well as Joe Media sitting right there. Um, I love seeing it. I love seeing the Joe Media logo on them because I don't expect it, right?
Yeah.
And but it's still so nice. And then of course Alex Stewart, he's using his from last year, and actually I designed these.
Nice.
So it was kind of cool that Alex still had his from last year. Chases, I love the black look kind of on the back here.
Mhm.
You are all these photos from Chelsea as well?
Yes. Actually, she asked Feedy if she could use a couple of his too, but I don't
Yeah,
know what. I think it's one of my dad's is.
I was gonna say I'm assuming this one right there.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, Rachel does a hell of a job. Here's Rick's, nice and simple. You see, like I love the look. Again,
Mhm.
all the sponsors. It's great to see Wade. I wasn't even expecting one from Wade, but he walked by and gave me one.
Nice.
Nice and simple. I love it.
Hmm.
Did I grab? Oh, Jacqueline must have picked them up for because I have two more of here.
I did give one to Jacqueline too.
Did you?
Yeah.
So what we're thinking actually is any hero cards I pick up, I'm actually going to be placing back here during the video.
That'd be cool.
So starting next week, you will see these start hanging up behind me. Actually, not in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
You'll start seeing these hero cards go up. So that way we love showing off you drivers. We love being able to um, showcase. Now I know it's a little bit further away. It's about 10, 15 feet away. So it's going to be hard to tell, but
Still, they're there.
I'm sure Jacqueline wouldn't appreciate them right above here. So, uh, to
Yeah.
be fair, I was hoping the we are gonna put the computer over here, so then
Right.
I would have had the wall that's to my left here. I would have put like a die cast shelf on it, put a few die casts
Mm.
on there, put some pictures there, and it would have been a cool little like background for the podcast. Um, but no, honestly, I'm excited to get more hero cards. And again, if you're looking for hero cards, you can reach out to Joe Medium Promotions, but I highly, highly, highly recommend going to Graphic Design Studio, of course, who is our presenting sponsor for for our Graphic Design Studio guest segment of the week. Um, and of course, if you already have a design, call up my man John Carley at Georgetown Printing. He's located in Kitchener, which is so weird to say now because he was
Yeah.
in Georgetown. But now he works out of his home. So it is phenomenal, for him to have that opportunity. And you know what? He has such a quick turnaround. I think Rachel got her your guys' to me on I think Tuesday or Wednesday, I think maybe Monday or Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah.
And by Friday, you guys, which I was okay. I want to bring this up real quick. I didn't know y'all were gonna go to Kitchener to pick them up
Yeah.
because John messaged me because he dropped off Brandon's on Fridays,
Yeah.
and he's like, I put him in the mailbox. I'm like, you put him in the mailbox? I'm like, they got 200 each. That's 800. There's 900 hero cards coming. Because I'm expecting to bring them to you guys on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was coming to Flamborough, like I wasn't. And when he's like, "Oh, the Mitchells are picking them up," I'm like, "Why didn't no one tell me?" But
yeah, Rachel really wanted Chick-fil-A, so that was her excuse.
And you guys didn't even invite us.
I thought about it after we got there. I'm like, I should have.
So rude.
You know what they were doing? Oh my god.
So rude.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll have to all meet up at one time and go Chick-fil-A and go out for dinner or something like that. We're running out of time with our opening segment. So there's always so much to talk about. We almost need another show just to break down a weekend when I go to the races because there's always so much to talk about. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I need to do a solo episode like breaking down or something. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see because I got 3 weeks in a row. So there's going to be lots of talking. You know what? We're going to go on the air. We're just going to do a rant after next weekend, okay? Because you'll be at Flamborough, I'll be at Sawville. We're covering 2 tracks, and even Feeney's coming to Sawville next weekend. So we're gonna have 3 perspectives. Maybe we'll have on Monday or something. We'll do a freaking Joe Media rant episode or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out in the week. But we need to get into our Driving with Hailey vehicle spotlight. This week is a 2023 GMC Acadia with only 28,966 kilometers. That's a low mileage vehicle. It is all-wheel drive. It is a black exterior, seat 6, gasoline. It has a 3.6 liter V6, 4 doors. Let's see what it's got here. It's got heads-up display, accident-free. It's only got 1 previous owner. With that low mileage, I would certainly hope so. 3rd row seating, adaptive cruise control, power passenger seat, leather interior. You know, I'm not a fan of leather, but if it looks good in the car, GPS navigation as well as park assist. Ooh, even better for the leather seats. It's got cooled seats.
Perfect.
So your buns are not going to be toasty in the middle of summer. So if you guys are interested in getting a new to you vehicle, call up our girl Hailey Hill at Driving with Hailey. She does amazing work. We love working with her. She's actually started racing now in the pure stocks at Flamborough Speedway. She's been doing a hell of a job. She's been competing around you actually. She's holding her own for being a pretty green driver. So yeah, if you guys are interested in getting a new to you ride, call up Hailey Hill today. Good credit, bad credit, past bankruptcy, no problem. Let Hailey help you get into your next right ride. Driving with Hailey is powered by Right Ride. You guys can find her on Facebook, Driving with Hailey. You guys can call her at 289-808-2828 or email her at hill@rightride.ca. Of course, we got to thank Hailey and Driving with Hailey for being the presenting sponsor of the True North Racing Podcast. We appreciate all your support. But enough about our freaking ranting because I feel like we can go on for hours. We got a very special guest this week on the show. We are going to be joined by Darren Dryden. He races the 12 Double D 360 sprint car at Ohsweken Speedway. This guy has a great path. He has DJD Graphics, DJD gear. I'm excited to find out more about him because he did a design on a car that was one of my favorites ever. And we're going to learn all about it in our graphic design studio guest segment. We are now being joined by the driver of the 12 Double D 360 sprint, Darren Dryden. Darren, how's it going, man?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on here.
No problem. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to talk with you because you have, from what I've seen, really risen through the ranks of sprint car racing here in Ontario. You start a couple years ago, you were running the crate sprints down at Ohsweken, and you've turned your focus over to the 360s. Even last weekend, we saw you head on down to Buxton Speedway or Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, and even competed in the wingless event there. How's your 2024 season been going for you so far?
It's been going great. We've been very consistent. It's been funny. We've been either getting like sixth or eighth a lot of the times. We did that one wingless race. Never had done wingless before. Placed second, which was probably one of the highlights this year for us so far. We're not necessarily running as high up as we had hoped, but when you think about where we start and where we finish each race, we've always been making gains. And obviously our competition is really tough with who we're racing against. We see that we got sixth, but then we look at who the top five are and, where they've came from and their experience levels. So, one thing that we always got to remind ourselves and myself is, where my experience is compared to them. And, we just got to keep pushing forward and learning. And we seem to be doing that. And I know we'll be up there soon enough.
Absolutely. Sorry, Megan, go ahead.
Oh no, I was agreeing. Like, I totally agree.
So let's take it all the way back then. How did young Darren get involved in racing?
Yeah, I actually started with go-karting when it opened up at Flamborough with the Waterloo Regional Kart Club. We heard about it, and there's a lot of people around Flamborough that all kind of just did it together. And we were all fresh at it. It was a lot of fun. I was 10 years old at the time. My father was racing with us too. Did that about for 7 years. I had got two championships, and in the last year, my dad and I both got one, which was super special because we knew going into it, it was our final year and we wanted to move on to cars. He kind of packed it in, focused on me. I ran mini stock for a year. Funny enough, I just didn't think it was fast enough, so I wanted to get some a little more. We ended up, TJ Marshall actually sent me an advertisement on a vintage modified and said, you got to join us. So we ended up buying one of those, ran it basically for the end of a year, but we wanted to keep our rookie status for the next year. So we only did 3 races. They allowed me to do 4, just bypass the rookie status. And I believe we won in our third or fourth race, which was pretty crazy. So we were super excited. But then next year happened, and we were blowing up motors. Like we blew up a motor early on. And then when we put a new one in, these inline sixes weren't cheap, so it was a little bit of a scare to us. And the second one, we blew it up during tests. So at that point, we were kind of on halt, not knowing what we should focus on. And within a week, we actually had Mac Demand reach out and say, "Hey, we got another TQ midget. You want to run for us?" And that was super cool. So we took that on, ran for Mac for the year. Got super comfortable in a TQ midget. And at that point, we just kind of wanted to have our own program. We had one, come up that was for sale. And when we went to go purchase it, we basically, the previous owner, Wayne Gray, he wanted to come and help us. So we figured, what better way to, adapt to a new car than to have the actual, he actually built the car too. So it was perfect to have him out. His son, who was the previous driver, he came out and helped too. So that definitely got me more comfortable in that. We had our own car. I think it was our third race. He was only going to help us with 3 races, but our third race, we were still struggling, had mechanical issues. So we came out for a 4th race, and we ended up winning it. So Wayne was super excited, wanted to help us for the rest of the year. We kind of had him on board, and we felt very comfortable, finished the year, and I believe it was 3rd place or so for the season. And then the next year we came out, won the championship, and then won the championship again. But on that second championship, we actually were offered a ride by Jeff Durnan to run a crate sprint. So I said, yeah, I would love to run one. This super cool opportunity. I knew my parents wouldn't really be too keen on it because they thought they were crazy. But yeah, everything.
Well, they are crazy. Let's be real.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think I'd ever be in one, but I couldn't turn the opportunity down. So we took advantage of it. And I actually ran both divisions throughout that year. And it wasn't only just Ohsweken, we were running the Action Sprint Tour and then the TQ Midgets as well. So I was used to like 16 to 18 races in a year. And that year we did, I think it was 30 something. So it was busy. And after that year, we kind of decided we should move on, focus on dirt. We were kind of loving it. So we ended up, again, buying our own. We wanted to have our own team. My dad felt a little bit out of it. He wanted to be more a part of it. My mechanic, Steve Gary, who's always been with us, he wanted to help out a lot more. So we had an opportunity, a really good deal pop up, and bought a car off of the Hodix, and we felt very comfortable getting right out there. Right off the hop, we were running top fives. So we were very comfortable in the crate division, and that was kind of the new focus. Never did I think I'd ever be in a 360. I thought that was just beyond crazy between cost, speed, everything like that. But basically, we had a really good year. I believe it would have been 2022. We had about 4 feature wins at Ohsweken. We felt very comfortable, and we loved the competition. And we just had a great opportunity where Steve Moulton wanted to help us, and we were like, you know what? He's got the 360 experience as a crew chief or as mechanic. So we figured, you know what? Now is probably the time to make the jump. Definitely not something that my mom necessarily agreed with us on, but my father and I, put some money together and bought a motor, and yeah, the rest is history. Now we're definitely committed to the 360s.
That's awesome. I didn't know half of that. I want to jump over to the kind of like art and design. How did you get into that too?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like in grade 12, I had to do a project, and it was Sharpie markers on a car hood. From there, I decided, as random as it is, I was like, I wanted to Sharpie my helmet. So I Sharpied my helmet, and from there, I posted it, and I had quite a few people that were interested in it. I think my first client might have even been Michael Kenny. So we actually Sharpied, I don't know, I had to have done like 10 to 20, and then I started to, do painting. So I've airbrushed probably right now. I don't do much anymore, probably 2, 3 a year. But right now I'm working on the 64th painted helmet. So we've painted quite a few. Take a lot of time. We're wrapping helmets a lot more now. But throughout the helmet painting process, I wanted to also wrap and design my own car. So I started to do that in the TQ midgets. And then crazy enough, I Sharpied my entire vintage modified, which a lot of people knew about. And that took me probably, I think it was 20 or 200 hours is what we had recorded, which was definitely crazy to do on a race car just to bang it up. We didn't put any marks on it, so that was pretty awesome. But at that point, I just started to dabble in a lot of the racing projects, which, a lot less stress when you don't have to have an absolute flawless result. But then it just branched on to a lot more. I dealt with a print shop out in Hamilton who did all my printing. I did all my installs myself. I self-taught myself. But then we kind of branched into having my own shop now. And we have basically one employee, Sebastian, and yeah, it's been a great team.
Sweet. And I gotta know, did you ever keep track of how many Sharpies it took to do like a helmet and how many it took to do a car? Like, I'm curious.
Yeah, we actually, for a while, we had a competition going at Flamborough where Gary Calling would always ask how many Sharpies it was. I can't remember actually what it was, but it was something like 1 box and 2 jumbo ones or something like that, around like 12 to 16 Sharpies on the full car. They actually go a long way. Like there's
Yeah.
silly little tricks to keep the Sharpies working better. One simple thing is when they stop working, you would wipe them on denim jeans and they'd clear right up. It's just one, interesting trick I learned from somebody out in California that did it. Yeah, it was very cool that I was able to do it for so long, but the Sharpies that we used wasn't an actual regular Sharpie. It was a special one that was meant for like beaker glass and stuff that allowed it to be more black, and it didn't look purple. So everything that I did, it wasn't just one layer of Sharpie. You'd actually have to do 2 so it would be black enough, and then we would clear coat it. But you'd have to clear coat it so carefully that it wouldn't run the ink. So there's a lot of things that we had to learn throughout the process, and it kind of came to the point where maybe Sharpies aren't the most realistic thing. So we started to, custom paint, wrap. Now I can, print my Sharpie design on wraps too. And I still get people asking for it. We still do the odd little thing. It's definitely cool.
It was really cool.
I know that Sharpie car very well, obviously for being the social media guy at with the club there for the past 4 years. Seeing Ricky Williger run that for the first couple years of his career with the club, and every time I saw it, that was one of the coolest things. It's one of those stats from not I guess it's not a stat per se, but it's one of those interesting factoids that I love to have in my back pocket when people ask stupid questions or something like that, and I have a random fact to throw in. So my wife never been to a race, never nothing like that. Her first experience was with the CVMs. We walked by the 8 car, which is Ricky's car now. Uh, and I live like, see that car? She goes, yeah. I'm like, that is all done by Sharpie. And she goes, what? I'm like, yep. Darren Dryden did that whole thing in Sharpie uh a few years ago, and it kept. And she's like, that's insane. I'm like, that's miraculous that it looks like that still after X amount of years.
Yeah, it's funny. We kept bringing it to car shows and stuff like that, and nobody would understand it was Sharpie no matter what. Like, I had to have a massive sign, and it's funny because I made the sign at the car show, just wrote it with Sharpie, looks all messy, whatever, and it just had to get the point across. It was like people aren't getting it. It says Sharpie art by Darren
Yeah.
Dryden, but nobody was understanding. They're like, nah, it's paint. No, it's literally a marker. So yeah, it was kind of funny how it worked because it was definitely a crazy project to do. I was working for my dad at the time doing auto body, and I knew that wasn't my passion. So I said, I know you're crazy, but I'm not going to work for you anymore. I'm going to Sharpie my car, and hopefully that sparks enough interest out there. And it kind of did. I didn't expect it to take off. But yeah, so to know that I went from Sharpies to what we have now, it's pretty, definitely pretty surreal.
It is it's been incredible to see how DJD Graphics has grown um in not just business, but in what you started out as to where you're at now. Because every time I see you wrap a race car or even uh just like a half wrap on a truck or something like that for a business, you can see the passion. Like it's so rare you find a look at a race car or vehicle or a company vehicle and be like, okay, that's kind of cool. But I find a lot of the work that you do, you can see the passion you have to bring something to life. Like I see Quinn Murdoch's car, the 7 from the Vintage Modifieds, uh, Michael Kenny with his 3 cars that they have this year. You can still see the passion, which is phenomenal. After every like how you've come how far you have come, you can still see that passion, which is one of the coolest things I love about DJD Graphics as you continue to move forward here, especially the helmets. I'm a sucker for a really good looking helmet. I don't know why, but again, hands down, some of the best work I've ever seen.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and it's cool to know that. I thought I was going to get out of the helmets for a while because the painting didn't make sense for the time involved and everything like that. But I didn't think wrapping helmets would make sense, and all of a sudden that's definitely really taken off. We got a lot of cool clients, a lot of great projects we're working on, some coming up too, and it's just really taken off, and it's a whole new market really. What I always wanted to do was basically provide a team with the full package. And we basically can do that now between the wraps. We could even do their hero cards. We can do their fan decals. We can do their t-shirts. We can do their suits now. It's really no limit to what we can do for them. So we really want to make everybody look professional. And it's cool to even see like my own competitors who are actually using me to look good too. They're like, oh, I want to look better than you. I want to do that. Like it's pretty funny. Like they get so involved. And it's nice to be a part of all these teams too.
I still think like I seen Cam Thompson wearing his DJD gear fire suit the past couple weekends here, and it looks slick. Like I again, same thing with Rodney Rutherford. He got one off VOL as well. Um, they're looking great, and I think it's great that you are putting a business out there that can, from start to finish. What is it? Gloves, fire suits, shoes, tents, crew shirts. You can do the whole works for them, and I'm not going to ask pricing because I know I'm well out of that budget, but it it makes sense for race teams to be able to come to you and be like, hey, here's the car, here's this, plus this. Like, let's do it. Let's get it done. It must be pretty. I guess it must be pretty satisfying when drivers come to you and be like, all right, we're gonna do all this just so I can try and look better than you.
Yeah, it's definitely satisfying. And quite honestly, like when we do the full package for everybody, a lot of people come to me and will be a little leery because of pricing all this. They think that we may be a little more or whatever. And then they hear about the pricing and how much we can help a team when they want the full package. Like we're definitely competitive. We're definitely quality over quantity. We don't overbook ourselves. We just really want to focus on basically the ones who treat it the way we expect and the ones who really care. And the obviously, yeah, quality is number one to us. We want everything for even the gear. Like ever since we've done our own gear, we've had every suit fit the client perfectly. It's been number one to us to make sure all clients are happy. And at the end of the day, we want them to feel like they have the best looking car, best looking suit, best looking helmet, best looking everything. So it's definitely been rewarding, and everybody seems to definitely be loving the whole deal. So.
I still say I guess one of the easiest things for you, in my opinion, is to create the best looking race car because the past 3 years, especially on your sprint car, you have had one of the best looking uh, sprint cars out there. And I got to even throw it back to the Can-Am days because if I remember correctly, one of the last couple years you ran, you almost had didn't you have like glow in the dark or something like that or like reflect? I can't remember what it was. It was there was
We
something you
dealt with
did.
Yeah, we've dealt with a lot of reflective for my personal vehicles. So 3M is a huge supporter of mine, and we deal with the reflective on all my personal vehicles. But I know with the past race cars, you may be thinking of I've always had blue chrome on there, and it kind of gives that reflection where it'll
Yeah,
blow off the wall and stuff like that. And
that's
now
yeah.
we are getting that a lot more, where everybody's asking for chrome and all this for everything. And then this year we even kind of branched off to a new thing where teal. I was always yellow and blue. I was actually originally green. We went to neon yellow and blue because of my one sponsor, Expert Transmission. He wanted on board, but he wanted us those colors. And I kind of just fell in love with those colors, ran them all the way through my sprint car. And then it wasn't until this year where I was like, you know what? There's a lot of blue and yellow cars out there now. I got to do something different. And it made perfect sense with the launch of DJD gear, and teal being my brand color. I never really thought it would stand out enough on the track. But honestly, it was definitely a great switch up this year because we've had nothing but compliments, and it stands out on G-Force, and nobody's got the color we have. So even in a photo, you can pick out the car very easily. Even, before it was a neon color, neon yellow, but it still blended in with too many similar cars out there,
Yeah.
especially in blue too. So.
That's awesome. And for anyone that like is interested in having something done by you, how can they get a hold of you for that?
Yeah, basically best is to, find me on social media, or you can obviously email me at darren@djdgraphics.com too. And we'll be able to provide everybody with, examples of what they can get, and pricing and packages to help everybody out and get them rolling. Definitely like to help all the racers, and we do a lot of commercial work too and stuff like that. But yeah, we do the whole package.
I want to get back into the racing here because, of course, we're a racing podcast. You do a lot with DJD Graphics and DJD Gear to bring that as well to the racers. But again, we love talking to drivers. about their transition, and I guess you did answer it for the most part. But I'm still curious on how that transition was, because we see the Can-Am midgets. They're quick, they're fast, they haul ass through a corner. Whereas, and you do the same thing in a sprint car, but except for turning left, you're turning right. Um, what what was the biggest difference? What was the biggest challenge for you moving in from the Can-Am midgets over to a crate sprint?
Yeah, biggest challenge for me definitely was knowing the wing down effect and going into that corner and knowing that you're not letting off the throttle anymore like you used to with the asphalt. And, all of a sudden the car pulls to the right when you do that. And I kept asking Jeff, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why is it not going into the corner and setting into the corner and doing what it needs to do? He's like, you're letting off. Stop letting off. So honestly, the one hot lap session, I just said, screw it. I'm going full tilt. But obviously, when you're driving somebody else's car, their equipment, you don't want something going wrong. So he just said, "Don't worry about it. Don't lift. Do it. You'll see what I mean." And you know what? He was right. Definitely. Once you feel that sensation, you start to realize how these cars should be driven. I also ended up buying a simulator as well to help me too, and I honestly think that's been a huge factor. Even when I ran that wingless race, I think I felt a lot more comfortable because I had some experience on my simulator. So I knew what to expect and how the car would handle. But definitely, yeah, going into the corner, knowing what this wing's going to do. Yeah, we had a wing on the TQ midget, but it's a lot different driving style and your braking points, your throttle points, your apex of the corner, and really just reading the track with the sprint car too. Like, it's a different line all the time. It changes throughout the race. And even, now that we've moved to the 360s, the track changes even that much quicker throughout the race. But when I was running both, I found that the sprint car definitely helped me drive the TQ midget a lot better on edge. I had a lot more car control. So I definitely think people who are running dirt are going to, gain an advantage even going back to asphalt and having that car control.
I mean, we see that with Cam Thompson each week. Him and I were talking last night at Flamborough Speedway during Meet the Drivers night, and he was telling me that each week he drives that sprint car, even though he's driving a pure stock over on the asphalt side, he feels he can drive. He learns something new each time. Even though it's a day apart, he learns something new and brings it to the racetrack. Look at hell. I mean, hell, Friday night he picked up a heat win. Saturday he goes out and gets his first feature win of the year. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Yeah, no, it all adds up for sure. And he's been picking up pretty good too. He's very comfortable running the top, and
Yeah,
he's gonna be getting there for sure.
that kid has got to have a nickname now that goes, because I don't think I've ever seen him run the low groove at Ohsweken. He is just high side every damn lap, every time out there. Phenomenal
Yeah, I don't
kid
think
though.
he has
Like,
the patience for it. I think he just wants to go fast.
I think you're right. I mean, hell, look at last year with his run into the A main during the Crate Sprint Car Nationals was absolutely nuts. Um,
Definitely. A lot of people were talking about that. A lot of people love seeing that.
oh yeah, that was a great storyline. Um, but obviously, so in moving, I guess because I haven't talked to anyone who's really moved into from a crate sprint to a 360. What is one of the biggest challenge? What is the big besides a motor? And I want you to actually touch on that a little bit as well as is the difference between a crate motor and a 360 motor. But what were some of the challenges moving from the crate division to the 360 division?
Honestly, it's really the skill level you're against. There's no slouches in the 360s. Like, everybody's good. So the setup, you can be a little similar to some point. Obviously, yeah, the motor, definitely a huge difference. The wings doing a lot more effect, and it's kind of the whole combination of everything, and you really got to be on point. Now you're searching for the track a lot more than you were in the crate. The crate was obviously a lot more momentum driven. The 360, you're really looking for where you need to be on the track, where's the fastest going to be, where's going to work for your car. Um, but yeah, like, even with the motor, I know my first session, funny enough, like, I know there wasn't everybody there, but my very first session was at Merrittville in a 360, and we posted fastest lap. So that was a super cool thing for us. And honestly, I was, head back in the seat thinking this thing was doing a wheelie. Like I couldn't believe how fast it was. But I had the greatest time of my life. And I thought, this definitely, it definitely suited my driving style, I felt. But I knew I had a lot to learn, like, with the competition who we're against, how the car reacts, and especially when it slicks off, that's where, I don't have the experience and I definitely need to, adapt a little bit better. And obviously that's, comes with experience too.
And are there any challenges for you when it comes to like competing on different tracks?
Yeah, all tracks we definitely find there's a lot of changes. Every time you go to the track, it changes too. We find we run a lot better when they either work the track throughout the day and we have or throughout the races and we have basically if they wet the track and stuff like that, there'll be more tack in the track, more grip. That's when it seems to, gear more towards my driving style or maybe our setup and stuff like that. When we find it really slicks off and it's like an ice rink, almost like at Ohsweken, I find like that's where we seem to struggle the most. We've had a few good runs trying some things, but we're still trying to improve there. We love trying new tracks though. Ransomville for one, we went there last year for our first time. We had a blast there. I think that's one thing that we want to try and do maybe next year is try to, hit up some tracks that maybe not be on our schedule, maybe cross the border, do stuff like that, and just get our feet wet and race against some new competition too. So it's definitely it's definitely great to run against everybody here. Amazing competition, great car count. We've definitely been having a lot of fun.
Is there a track that you haven't run yet that you kind of have on your bucket list to do?
Definitely Eldora and Knoxville, and we do have an opportunity. We could maybe run either of them this year. Still trying to determine what our plan is. But I'd say one of those two. I think I'm definitely leaning towards hitting Eldora one time. Definitely would be a very cool track.
That'd be cool.
That would be first. That would just be an absolute experience just to go to to go to either facility and compete on those surfaces. Like that to me, those are second to none facilities. Produce some really great racing, so multi groove. You couldn't ask for better opportunities to be able to get to go to one of those tracks.
Yeah, at the start of the year, there was quite a few running Volusia too, which that would have been very cool. Do hope to maybe do that next year. We'll see, where things are at the end of the year. But they do that kind of early in the off, or not, I guess it would be late in the off season, early in the new season. So yeah, no, that would be very cool to do.
There's no off season down south. Let's be real.
No, not really. They just breathe for about a month and get back at it.
If that. Uh, I think it would ask. So, what is one of your end goals in racing? Like, do you want to compete down south? Do you want to try to make it to the World of Outlaws or High Limits? Do you want to compete in one of those? What's your end goal with racing?
Yeah, I mean, end goal is definitely determined on, where the money's at, where sponsorships are at, stuff like that. Definitely when we get to this point in our racing, dealing with 360s and the 410s, but 410s would definitely be the dream. I would love to, enter some high limit races, dabble in them. And I know there's quite a few that we could reach that would be close enough. But yeah, time will tell. We definitely want to get more comfortable in the 360 and kind of see where the path leads. But you know, 5 years ago, I would have never guessed I'd be in a 360. Let alone our own team. So we definitely going to keep pushing forward and kind of see where things fall in place.
I'm hoping to see. I would. It'd be cool to see you take on that announcement of that you're gonna head down south. We've had some great Canadian talent. Let's be real. Head on down. Compete during the dirt spray. I think they're calling it now the dirt speed weeks down there where there's like Volusia. Oh, what was the other East Bay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're closed now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I hate seeing that. and again, this year Humberstone only has 5
Yeah.
races. They kick off their first of 5 this coming Sunday, uh, at the historic facility. Is there any races for you guys at that track?
Yeah, we have I think we do their last two. We have a
Okay.
weekend there at the end of the year. So we still have our normal Humberstone, which is very cool. Definitely gonna, yeah, be bittersweet not going back there again. And then, obviously it's super cool to see that Buxton is, taken off and kind of, push the ability to keep running. And we had a blast there too, and we're gonna be there at a few more races this year too, so we're excited on that.
Yeah, it's really sad to see Humberstone leave us. And at the end of last season, we weren't even sure if Southern Ontario Motor Speedway was going to open again. But of course now the March family has come in, rebranded as Buxton Speedway. For the most part, there's still Psalms, I think, still around the facility. But they'll be changing all that over the coming months. From my understanding. They have done a great job by the looks of it visually from seeing pictures and videos. But from and my last visit, my only visit there was 2021. Uh, I remember a couple years ago when the Southern Ontario Sprints were going to race there, they actually canceled the second race at that track because of track conditions. Has the track conditions improved since you from that time?
Yeah, funny enough, we were there when they basically canceled us from running. We That was my first ever win in a
Oh,
crate.
jeez.
So we after the heat race, I'm not gonna lie, I said to my crew, I said I'm scared out there. This track, like I said, this ain't for me. Like I feel like I'm gonna flip every lap. And honestly, we made a huge change to our setup, and we were out there. We felt dialed. Like car was amazing. We were fast as heck. Definitely on edge the whole time, and I obviously wanted to go back. We had a good night. There's a lot of people that didn't want to go back, kind of got voted out. I understood it wasn't necessarily the safest at the time, and he needed to work through some stuff, but they have made amazing improvements. We had the race there this year. We thought it was, perfect. They worked the track after the heat race. They, obviously delay some time, but they want a good race. They want to make sure it's safe too. Gave us excellent conditions. Like if you put it this way, Dylan Westbrook had the same hot lap time as he did heat race time as he did feature time. That doesn't
Oh,
happen
wow.
often. And that just means they were able to keep the track, in great condition throughout the night. There was a curb at the end of the night, stuff like that. And then we even went out there, ran wingless, and track was great too. So they know they got some improvements to make. We found it was very dusty at the end, but again, they're going in the right direction, and they definitely, they ask around, they care, and they definitely want to keep moving forward and make it as best as they can for us. But all around, it was a great track for us, and we're definitely looking forward to going back.
I love it. We had Will March on just a few weeks ago to talk about Southern Ontario Motor Speedway. And of course he runs a crate sprint as well, but I think that's been kind of put on the back burner as the family has now taken over ownership of the speedway. Uh from the videos I've seen, from pictures I've seen, it's looking like a great facility. They're continuing to try to improve, to really try to make it a premier facility so that, in my opinion, for the London region, you can go Friday night to Delaware, enjoy a great night of asphalt racing at the half mile there. Then Saturday night you can head on over to Buxton Speedway and go get dirty up in that grandstands. And the pictures that we see of the grandstands from there, it looks like there's not even an empty seat, which is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's packed. I couldn't believe how much. They definitely draw a lot of crowd there. It's cool to see how packed it is and how involved that community is around that track.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see, and Ohsweken's the same way on Friday nights. The community comes out, they support the track, they support all the racers. The racers support the community. I know at one point, I'm sure a lot of people still do, is that they make Burger Barn their pre-race dinner before they head off to the speedway. Um, there's so much to be said about racers and fans supporting the communities that they're racing in. And when you got people like Merrittville, Sunset, Ohsweken, Southern, Buxton, Delaware. It's great to see a community turnout and the community embrace and respect and want to be a part of that growth because they know that people like Darren, first of all, Darren, whereabouts are you from?
I'm basically right near Flamborough Speedway. I
Okay.
live, yeah. So yeah, very close to Flamborough Speedway.
Yeah,
Probably the
that's
easiest
not
way to
far at
explain
all.
it.
Huh?
Probably the easiest way to explain it. Most people know what that is.
So when you go to Southern Ontario Motor Speedway or Merrittville, holy crap! Sorry, I realized I'm starting to get a lot brighter on my I, I didn't realize how bright I was getting. I gotta turn these down. Holy crap! I just like turned white. Um, but no, it's great to see people like yourselves who go out and go support other communities with their racetracks because that's how we keep this crazy sport alive that we all love. Let's be real. We can't sit back and dictate and or be couch owners and couch promoters and be like, oh, this is what tracks need to do. We need to go out there and support them. And your words on Southern Ontario Motor Speedway really is going to help grow and and help the speedway be able to continue going. Same thing with Ohsweken. They need the racers to really be able to go out there and promote the track so that fans can come out. And I'm disappointed in myself because I haven't made a trip to Ohsweken yet this year, and it's going to be really hard to make a trip this year until the Crate Sprint Nationals at the end of the year. So I applaud you for making, especially that trip, because I know that's a long trip to go down to Buxton.
Yeah, definitely. And we're very committed. We like to do all the races that we can. Like we're even doing the Brighton series. That's so basically we run 3 series this year,
Oh
between
wow.
Brighton, Ohsweken, and SOS. But yeah, we love it. It's, we definitely eat, sleep, and breathe racing, and my whole team does. We love it. Definitely keeps us very busy, and yeah, no off weekends, it doesn't feel like.
You know what? It's crazy. Like it's crazy when we start looking at the race season ahead and be like, okay, 15 races. Megan, how many? Okay, first of all, this we're having a little trying to have a little competition here on the show because Megan is running 21 out of 24 nights, I think it is, at Flamborough because to get perfect attendance this year to win a free season's pass for next year at Flamborough,
Right.
she has to compete in all events. How many races do you have on your schedule this year with those 3 series then?
It's between 30 and 35. I know that.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's definitely busy. And then here we are trying to think of some extra ones that we could do. We almost did one a few weeks ago. Weather wasn't looking great, so we didn't do it. But yeah, like for us, we've done all the tracks, so obviously we just want to keep going back, but we'd love to try new ones. Like, and that's the thing with dirt. Every time you go there, it's different. We definitely just want to, yeah, try new things.
and let's be real. What is a maintenance week look like for you to prepare, especially when there's no incidences? What does a maintenance week look like for you guys to prepare from one week to the next?
Yeah, we basically we have an amazing crew of Steve Moulton and Steve Gary, and obviously my father, Jon Dryden. We have Steve Moulton who will usually come by the next day after we wash our car, and he'll do all the engine maintenance, and basically we'll spend a good half a day to prep everything between tires, engine maintenance, and you gotta do engine maintenance between every race. So it's a lot different than the crate where you just put it away and go back racing. You can't do that the same. So you're a good day to get yourself ready for the next race with no damages. So it definitely adds to it, and that's why we're definitely so thankful to have the crew that we have and the knowledge that they have. So it puts a lot of stress off of me and my father, who both own our own companies, who continue to work, and the two Steves basically work away at the car throughout the week and get us geared up for the next week. And obviously, we have a lot of double headers too. So at that point, we come home late at night. My father and I wash the car, get everything prepped and ready for them. They get here in the morning and prep the car. And realistically, yeah, you can get the car ready to go by, noon next day. Like we don't have to spend a full day for prep. That's if you're doing tires and everything else too. So it's definitely extensive work, more than anything we've ever raced. TQ midgets, I don't even think I wiped the damn thing clean. I think we just put it away in the trailer and went back out racing. So yeah.
So if anybody wanted to move into a sprint, whether it's a 360 or a crate, how could they do that? Like, what would be the best way to go about it, and who do you suggest them talking to?
Yeah, honestly, the whole community is very easygoing. You could honestly ask anyone; they're going to point you in the right direction of what to get, where to get it, and there's so many options out there too. Like when we did it, obviously, Jeff got us very comfortable, and from there, we bought our car from the Hotix, and when we reached out to the Hotix, and their car was for sale, they were super helpful. They next thing you know, we're there picking up the car and spare this, spare that. He's giving us all this stuff, telling us what we may need. And then we could reach out to them if we had any questions, whether it was some setup stuff, maintenance stuff. They're always there to help. And it's definitely a very welcoming community, similar to asphalt. Everybody's the same. One will say one's better than the other, but at the end of the day, it's racers. All racers are going to be wanting to help each other until you get to that point of being super competitive or rivalries, stuff like that. But you're still there to help each other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that TJ Marshall with the CVMs has always reiterated. He always wanted to see guys get better until they got just underneath him, and then he's like, I'll point you in the right direction, but once you start being competitive and almost beating me, then I'm going to stop. You got to figure that out on your own, how to get around me.
Yeah, you know what's funny with TJ is when I grew up racing, he kind of would help me with setup on my go-kart.
Yep.
Basically a good family friend, and I got to a point where I was obviously racing with him. So we were racing with him in go-karts and racing against him in vintage modifieds. He'd come over and he'd check the stagger on my vintage mod. Say, I should be running this or this. And I'm like, dude, we're competing against wins here. Should I listen to your help? He's like, I'm genuinely helping you. He's like, you can listen or not. At the end of the day, we always had some great battles. I got numerous photos where there'd either be sparks flying or tire smoke from him and I having good races with each other. We wouldn't really give each other much of an inch, but at the same time, we'd always be clean. And he'd always be there helping at the end of the day. But yeah, same thing. Like once you get to the point of, being super competitive with him, he starts obviously be leery of how much he's going to help you. And he's very knowledge guy, and knows his stuff with the vintage mod. He can get around for sure.
And that is exactly why he's a three-time or four-time champion now.
Yeah, might be now. He's been on a roll.
Yeah, he's done it. He knows how to wheel those things. He knows how to, and of course, between him and his crew, they know how to get it done. Um, you've had, I don't. This has been one of the best interviews. I've been saying this a lot lately that we've been having really, really good interviews, which is great to say. This has been one of, I think, my favorite ones with a dirt driver because one, you are so knowledgeable. You've been, you know exactly what you're talking about. There's no BS, and sometimes it's hard to get that out of a driver because hell, they don't want to give everything away. They don't want to talk, or they don't want to talk a whole lot. But I gotta thank you for joining us this week. We're just about at our time capacity with you. I'd love to already invite you back on because again, it has been phenomenal to have you on. You, like you said, so knowledgeable, and it's great to see that you're not only a competitor, but you're also willing to help competitors. By making them by helping them look good on the racetrack, because I do, as much as if a fast race car doesn't have to have many stickers on it, it sure looks really good going around the speedway when it's on TV.
Oh, 100%. And funny enough, this year we've done a lot of suits, cars, and I couldn't believe how many people like debuted our suit and won. And I was making jokes to a lot of them. I was like, guys, once you start feeling good, looking good, it's like you start running better, like stuff like that, right? A lot of it is a mental game too. And At the end of the day, you wanna look good for your sponsors, and you definitely have to take all that seriously, not just throw stickers on the car to really pays tribute to all these sponsors that are getting you there.
I'm so happy you touched on that because like I said, I was just about to we're kind of wrapping up here, but I gotta say that you do one hell of a job. One, your photographer that is it like a friend of yours or something like that who's a photographer?
Yeah, he's my employee, Sebastian.
Oh,
So
is that okay? So that's
yep,
Sebastian.
yep,
He
yep.
does amazing job at the photos he takes of your car.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm sorry that I meant to tag that it was on your racing page. I got to make sure I go back in afterwards. Um, he does incredible. He takes incredible photos of your car. Again, same like remember how earlier I said about the passion. You can see the passion in his career in taking the photos and your passion for racing all in a single photo. And like they say, a photo's worth 1,000 words. I can read all of them.
Yeah, he's been loving it, and it kind of was a little bit of a hobby at first. Like he started to pick up the camera, do some photos, and I was like, dude, you should definitely bring your camera to the track, take photos, do all this. Like my crew, they're very sticky where they want to work on it just themselves. And like, Sebastian's knowledge, but we don't need too many hands on the car. He's always there to help. He loves being there at the track, and it was a great opportunity for him to pick up the camera and get experienced. And it's kind of allowed him to branch off and do a little bit of a side business sort of thing. So he's, still doing shoots and stuff, when he's not at the shop and stuff like that. So it's a huge passion for him. But at the end of the day, he loves this work too. So it's cool to have that similar passion and, be at the track. I'm doing my racing. He's doing his photos. And, it's definitely, really cool.
Absolutely. And that's where I want to lead into is that I feel like with the photos that you post on your race day recaps and um or promoting your sponsor, those kind of photos and the way you handle social media on how you promote your partners and showcase them is phenomenal. I inspire I want a lot of drivers to go over and take a look at your stuff to see how it should be done or do it in their own way. But I look at him like that's phenomenal. It's great marketing. And again, same thing. Everything I see from DJD Graphics in how you do your unveiling posts and you're tagging like 3M and stuff like that in your posts, and it's just like this guy understands it, and he you do a phenomenal job for your partners, and I gotta applaud you for that.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. And for us, it's very important because a lot of our sponsors don't make it to the track or can't, and busy people, and they love to chime into G-Force, but they don't get to see everything. So showing those moments, special moments of photos, videos. Videos have been a big thing recently where obviously photos are amazing, but we want to kind of showcase more of what's happening behind the scenes too. So even the quick clips of the in-car, just so people can really understand what these cars are like to drive. They don't see the whole thing. So it's definitely cool to keep everybody involved and not just our sponsors, but everybody else that follows the page and loves racing. So.
See, you get it because that's exactly what I do with Joel Media and Promotions. We do a bunch of in-car stuff. It's because people don't
Exactly.
get a chance to see it. That you
Yeah.
got to showcase it.
Yeah. No, and it's great like to see even what you're doing, growing your business there and getting all the drivers involved and all the teams you're working with this year. It's very cool to see it all grow.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, no
Uh,
problem.
before we let you go, we do have our tailor to you media and design fan question period. As you saw earlier today, we tagged you on social. I think I tagged you on social media. I think I may
Yep.
have not have. Um, we announced that you were coming on the show tonight. We got a couple questions for you to answer. You ready to answer them?
Cool. Yeah, yeah, of course.
All right, Megan, take it away.
Okay. William underscore Trillium said, "What is your favorite racing memory?"
Ooh, favorite racing memory. I would probably have to say our first 360 win. It was just definitely a special moment. Yeah, it's tough. I'd probably say that though. We had our first win there at Brighton, and backed it up with another one at Merrittville, and I think those are definitely our biggest moments.
Awesome. And then he also asked, "Why did you choose your number?"
Honestly, as silly as it is, I was born on the 12th. I was always number 12, soccer, all sorts of sports growing up. And it just kind of, yeah, it was just a number that stuck with me. And funny enough, Ryan Blaney was always my favorite driver before he got into the 12. So then when he got into the 12, I was like, wow, this all makes sense. Super cool. And then, yeah, him win a championship, all that was very cool to see.
Those are great questions from Will. He's one of our like biggest guys who like message us each week and always supplies us with questions. But that is our Taylor to You Me Design fan question period. Of course, we got to thank William for submitting those questions, and of course, we got to thank Darren for taking the time to answer those questions for us.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Before we let you go, I'm sure you have a nice laundry list of people you want to thank. We are going to give you the next few minutes here. You can thank your great grandparents who, I don't know. I don't know where I was going to go with that. You can thank like a family dog that your third aunt had or something like that. Thank your sponsors. Thank anyone you want, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, obviously, first off, gotta thank my father for all he does, make all this possible. My mom for all her support, keeping the boys fed on race day. Gotta thank Sebastian for all his help, at the shop as well as at the track. My mechanics, Steve Gary and Steve Moulton. Steve Gary has been with us since day one racing. Steve Moulton, we picked up when we were running we made the jump to 360s. So he made us very comfortable with the transition. It's been amazing to have the group of us. And I always joke around, we got the oldest crew in the pits, but the most experienced too. So it's definitely super cool to have the bunch of us. Got to thank, obviously, the rest of my family and grandparents. My grandma doesn't miss a race or an update. I got to thank my girlfriend, all my sponsors. We got a long list. Humberview Parts has been with us for a while now, being our primary. We have DJD Gear, DJD Graphics, 3M, Expert Transmission and Total Car Care, ND Graphics, Andy Burnside, and Desert Ends Insurance. Alpha Microtech, who has came on board this year, which is very cool. Grindstone Landscaping, Flambeau Machine Shop, Fitter Fitness, and SR Photography, which is Sebastian. So it's been, those are definitely, the core people I got to thank, and obviously all the fans for showing up and being involved with the racing community. So.
Sounds good, man. Well, before we let you go, where can people who are listening to the show who may not know you, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, honestly, best is to look up my personal name, Darren Dryden, and you'll find me there. I don't necessarily have a racing page or any of that. I do have to get onto that. Like as you say, we do it very well. We show up very well, but I definitely kind of have to separate that stuff eventually. We're getting pretty content busy. But no, it's been great.
All right, man. Well, thank you for taking the time tonight to talk to Megan and I on the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving with Hailey. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure.
And we're back from our graphic design studio guest segment. I don't even know how I'm gonna word that. Jesus. We had a lot of fun talking with Darren Dryden. He is definitely one of those kind of guys who really phenomenal. Like Megan and I we have a side conversation typically going on these shows, and with throwing back questions between us, and I said, I'm like, man, this guy's really gone through our questions, and Megan, we love having guests like that on, where they're very knowledgeable. They talk about the people that helped them get to where they are. Like how he's in the Can-Am midgets, and Jeff Durnan got him into a crate sprint. Like that's what we need to see. Like we love to hear that kind of stuff. It really makes for a really good conversation, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. Like that's the main part. You hope you all enjoyed it, because we had a lot of fun. There's not much else we want to talk about, but this Saturday, Megan is going to talk about what's going on at Flamborough Speedway.
So this Saturday is Flamborough's next $15 night. We've got the CVMs, mini stocks, pier stocks, plus King of the Hill or spectator drags, and the Reckless Rider stunt show is back. It is $15 for adults and seniors and students, and 5 for children. So it's a good night to come out.
It's a great night to come. Not even no. It's a great night.
There's if you can wait to come out, this is your opportunity. It's a good.
If you're located in the Hamilton area and you want to go watch some short track racing, head on over to Flamborough Speedway. It's $15 night. Plus, if you bring your own helmet, you can go race. One lap dash versus someone else. Just don't take them out. That's all we don't want to see crashes. We've seen a Viper and a Vet crash at Delaware, and on the front stretch, and they couldn't escape both walls. So don't do anything like that, but get on out to Flamborough Speedway. Go enjoy a night of racing. Lots of great actions. The CVMs, mini stocks, pure stocks as well, I think you said. Yeah, you're racing. Pure stocks are, of course, going to be there. They're 21 nights out of the 24. Lots of great action. Get on out to Flamborough Speedway. I will be heading to Sauble Speedway for my first of 2 trips this summer. We are going to be going with Ty Cavalin with his number 7 TC Racing. I think it's still a Ford Mustang. I haven't seen any pictures yet, and I don't think they've gone out. I got to reach out to Tony about that. That's going to be our next A Day at the Races presented by JTM Racing. I'm actually trying to figure out a concept of possibly doing 2 vlogs throughout the entire weekend so you can see what me and my family got up to over the course of 3 days while we're up in Sauble, as well as Ty Cavalin's portion on the Sunday. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we can make this work. And hopefully Mother Nature is being kind to us, because I saw last night there's already a 50% chance of rain on Saturday. So I'm not happy about that. Now, to be fair, I'm going to Sunday. Sunday's looking beautiful. Beautiful weather, looking like this coming weekend. And it's the first doubleheader of Sauble Speedway season. Lots of great action there. If you're up in the Sauble area, get out to Sauble Speedway. It's going to be a great weekend of racing. Graydon Bunn. No, not Graydon. It's Graydon. No, Graydon's not racing. Brandon Feeney's racing on Saturday. He's racing a Campground Crew racing car. He's actually driving the number 81 next weekend up at the Speedway. I said I'll be there with Ty Cavalin and his number 7 TC Racing Pro Late Model. So that's gonna be our first Pro Late Model event of the year for those guys. We'll be going back at the end of July as well for a 1-day show. Lots of great action. It's going to be lots of fun. Get on out. It's Canada weekend. Delaware Speedway's got the APC United Late Model Series. There's lots of great action. We're going to be talking all about it later on this week in our Georgetown Printing driver lineup coming out. I'm going to make sure it comes out Thursday this week, because I already got all my work done for the most part this week. All I got to do is line up after we're done recording, and then I got to do the racer recap. While it's printing racer recap, I got to do, I can't, for some reason I can't say it now. I got to do that after the show. We're done recording here tonight to get that uploaded for Monday. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to have that ready for you guys to go for Thursday, so you guys are in the know of what is going on this coming weekend. Megan, where can they find MRC Racing on social media and yourself?
MRC Racing is on Instagram, mrc.racing.73. And then Facebook's just MRC Racing, and TikTok is MRC Racing 73. And my personal, you can add me on Facebook. I'm on there. But Instagram I'm not really on, but it's megan.mitchell.7. Nope, .97. It's changed.
Oh, you changed it.
I changed it.
Wow. And of course, guys, you guys can find Joe Media Promotions on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, as well as joemedia.ca. Lots of driver information up there. I've been slacking a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I've been slacking on the results I've been doing on the pages. But stay tuned. There's lots of great things coming out in the coming weeks from Joe Media Promotions. I'm going into week 2 of 3 scheduled. I'm going to have to add more in the coming weeks. So you may see me in a couple more weeks with additions for the A Day at the Races vlog series. Who knows? I may be spending my birthday weekend at a racetrack. Very likely I will. So, but yeah, make sure you guys follow us on social media. Stay up to date on everything that's going on with MRC Racing, Joe Media, and Promotions. And yeah, if you like what you're listening to, like, comment, share, subscribe, share with your friends. Show them what you're listening to. And if you don't like us, well, I'm sorry. But that's going to do it for Megan and I tonight. Thank you guys for checking out the True North Racing podcast presented by Driving With Hailey. Of course, we got to thank our sponsors, Peps Pro Painting for bringing us our opening segment, Graphic Design Studio for bringing us our guests, and as well as Taylor to You Media Design for our guest or our fan question period. And of course, we got to thank all our other associate sponsors as well for everything they do for us to help us get to the track each and every week. But that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys, like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe. For Megan Mitchell, I'm John Morrison. We'll see y'all next time. Bye now.
Smell the gas and feel the vibe. Going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing. Let's go.